Welcome back to Narrative Nook Cafe. I'm so happy you could join me today. Our meetups are kind of like therapy for me at this point. This is part 3, the final part of how they took my grace from me to cover up their evil deeds. If you haven't listened to parts 1 and 2, please do so now because I have a special guest, and what they are going to tell you is quite scandalous. I must admit that it was a lot for me to take in when she told me. I was very upset. Those people are really the worst, but nevertheless, we forge on. I do believe I left off telling you about Animal Jail. So, relax as I recall as much as I can from that terrible time in my life. I slept curled around the last thing that still smelled like Grace. That cold, hard, metal cage was beginning to play on my mind. I became lonely and depressed, but for a while held on to hope. I'm not sure how long I was there, but I never stopped remembering. I never stopped knowing. I never stopped being hers. I know that she would come looking for me if those people didn't do the unthinkable. After a while, the isolation made me bitter. No human warmth or interaction can drive a cat insane. But one night, I smelled her again. I thought that it was just desperation playing with my mind, until I heard a voice that I haven't heard in a long time. I thought I've truly lost my marbles until I saw her.
Saint! Saint, Mommy is here. Thank God I found you.
She picked me up and gave me the biggest cuddle with tears in the eyes. I had never purred that much or that loudly. When we got in the car, Grace told me everything.
I'm Grace, and as Saint has told you, I didn't disappear. That was a lie they concocted to conceal their other lies. I was taken from my life, the place I called home and Saint, with falsified paperwork. I was moved like an old couch that didn't fit the aesthetic anymore. They disguised it as concern and help. The problem with that excuse is that I didn't need help, but Tyler, Ashley, and even Mr. Bedford had a reason to be concerned about me, because they discovered all of their nasty little secrets. That's why they didn't want me around anymore. I was asking too many questions. They knew that I worked for Mr. Bedford because I believed in order, in keeping things running, in being useful. So when I found something that didn't look right, I was determined to find out what was going on, to fix it. It started when I found an unsealed envelope with Mr. Warren's name on it that had last will and testament stamped on the outside of it. I thought that was strange considering Mr. Warren doesn't live there. He is Mr. Bedford's business partner, but that doesn't explain why Mr. Warren's will be here in Mr. Bedford's house. When I asked if Mr. Warren had been there, they smiled, but never answered the question. When I asked again, they worried. That's how the shift happened. I didn't pay any attention to the shift because I hadn't yet connected the dots. I just paid closer attention to the comings and goings of the mansion. Tyler had been coming around more, and he was awfully friendly with Ashley, while Ashley got cozy with Mr. Bedford. I later found a new will for Mr. Warren, although I never saw Mr. Warren come to the house. So I gave Mr. Warren a call to see if he knew anything about his will be at Mr. Bedford estate. He was shocked when I told him, as Mr. Warren was trying to dissolve the business partnership with Mr. Bedford, because he had discovered that Mr. Bedford has been embezzling money from his for the better part of a decade. He made side deals that he completely cut Mr. Warren off, and as of late, Mr. Bedford had resorted to stealing directly from Mr. Warren's accounts. It started when his accountant found a number that didn't look right. It was small, but still suspicious. That's how it always starts. Something small, a number that refuses to settle, a transfer that doesn't quite belong where it's been placed. So he followed the trail. He had me snoop around and find what evidence I could. I found some of Mr. Bedford's bank statements, but none of them lined up with the transactions that Mr. Warren's account had. Then I got the bright idea to check the room that nobody ever goes in, unless they're trying to hide something, and I hit the jackpot. I found 10 monthly statements that showed that the money taken from Mr. Warren's accounts was transferred to Mr. Bedford's accounts. There's still the issue of the will. It was forged. To sum up the scheme, Tyler and Ashley were expecting a baby. This scared them both because neither had money. Mr. Bedford had money, but he would not help Tyler, especially if he found out that the baby came from the help. Tyler and the baby would be disinherited. So they set up a two-part scheme. Ashley would get close to Mr. Bedford, sleep with him, and make him think that the baby belonged to him, while Tyler slowly started stealing money from his dad. Tyler gained access to Mr. Bedford's account, only to find that his dad was cash poor. He had just enough to keep the house functioning properly, but if anything went missing, they would know. That's when Tyler discovered that his dad was a thief as well. He bore witness to years of embezzlement and stealing from his business partner. That's when Tyler decided to just try blackmail. He did, and it worked. Ashley and Tyler were being paid to keep quiet until Mr. Bedford could think of a way to cover his tracks for good. So Tyler helped him plan to forge the will, leaving the company, bank accounts, and real estate portfolio to Mr. Bedford. Since they appeared to be best friends for over 50 years, no one would question it. They had to forge the will and stage Mr. Warren's death before the company was dissolved. After everything was executed, Tyler would get the company, and Mr. Bedford would just remain in the payroll, while also pocketing Mr. Warren's money and keeping the real estate for himself. Mr. Warren and I mainly corresponded through mail without a return address, so no one would know that we were on to them. But somehow they found out. I was planning my exit anyway, because I didn't know what they would eventually do to me when they found out that they had been had. But they read through my mail and discovered that Mr. Warren and I knew about everything before I could escape. The morning I was taken, they arrived early, with calm voices and practiced explanations. They spoke to me like I was fragile, like disagreement would only prove their point. I tried to stay. I said I was fine. I said I had responsibilities. I said there had been a misunderstanding. They blocked the hallway, not aggressively, intentionally. That's when Tyler told me not to make it harder. That was the moment I understood. I was being removed. When I asked for Saint, they said no. When I refused to go without him, they held my arms, not tightly, just firmly enough that resistance felt pointless. That's how they win. They don't overpower you. They exhaust you. They didn't hurt me. That surprises people. I was isolated, observed, managed. They put me in an 8x8 concrete room, no windows and only one door. The room had an old TV, a few books, a mattress on the floor, and a bucket in the corner. They told the world I needed space, so no one would come looking for me. And they told me that the world had moved on. The most effective cage isn't locked. It's convincing you no one is listening anymore. that you're not important enough for anyone to care about. But there was one who did care about me. I wasn't expecting care to come from a stranger, but it did. Thomas, the man in the driveway that Saint told you about earlier, he is the reason I escaped my makeshift jail and the sole reason I am still alive. He told me that they hired him to make sure I disappeared for good. They convinced him that I was a horrible person, so he was being hired to do the world a favor. So he followed me. He learned my routine. He said he noticed how kind I was to people, even when they didn't deserve it, and that the day we met in the driveway sealed the deal for him. He decided in his mind that I didn't deserve what they were planning, only he didn't tell Tyler that he wasn't going to do it. Thomas wanted to stay close to the plan so that he can make sure that I wasn't harmed and provide a way of escape when the opportunity presented itself. I was guarded 24 hours a day, so Tyler decided to take a shift one day, and that's how I escaped. He waited for the other to go home, and he unlocked the door and drove me to the shelter to pick up Saint. Then he took us both to a safe place. I called the police and told them everything. They were already familiar with the situation, because when I no longer respond to Mr. Warren's letters, texts, or phone calls, he called the police. They were called the day that I left, but they obviously weren't much help. But I'm alive and can tell the story. That is something that they never counted on. They never thought that they would be betrayed by someone they hired to cover up their betrayal. Some consequences are quiet, but theirs made front-page news. Bedford estate charged with racketeering, conspiracy, and felony kidnapping. I didn't want revenge. I wanted my life back. You were told I vanished. That was never true. I was here the whole time, waiting to tell the truth. And if you're wondering how close something like this could come to happening without anyone noticing, ask yourself how often you believe the version of events that's most convenient, or believed someone because they gave the appearance or wealth and power. My life is my own now, and I have my sweet little Saint back. He is asleep beside me now, and that awful house is very far away. Mr. Warren was so grateful that I saved his life and everything that he worked for, that he gave me a house from his portfolio. It is mine, deed and all. And this story, this one, is finally mine again. If telling the truth would destroy everyone around you, would you speak anyway? Or would you learn to live inside the lie? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, click like and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for visiting Narrative Nook Cafe.